Hi everyone, here's Julie, your favorite Polish mad lad. In this episode, we're going to see how to tag players with a color based on their team. So TT will be seen as red by default, and IT will be seen as blue. You can see it right now. So here is a TT player. If I spawn a AT player, we can see it as blue in the default scene, in the bottom view. And when we are spawning some players correctly in the scene and we are joining our friends, we can see that players of our team are shown as blue and the enemy team is shown as red. So here you can see the comparison. Very good. So in this episode, this is all we're gonna see. We're gonna see some more thing about rendering players, and voila. So see you soon in this episode. Okay, let's go, boys. To begin with, we're gonna need a new script in the player scripts that we're gonna name player renderer, like so, and we're gonna open it in order to see things here. To be clear, here we're gonna need the entity behavior in order to have the entity properties. Here we're gonna use the Unity engine and the Bolt libraries, and of course we're gonna need the following variables. So we're gonna need a reference for the scene camera, a reference for the camera, a reference for the ally color, the enemy color, for the player motor, and of course the mesh renderer in order to put a color on it. So let's here at the NAWIC where we get the player motor, and let's add a init function in which we're gonna do some cool things. So in our init function, what we need is pretty simple. We only need here to activate or deactivate the camera based on if we are the counter or the owner of the object. And next we're gonna do the same as we did in the last scripts where we had some init functions in order to initialize our player. First we're gonna do the has control part. So in here we're gonna check for the game controller, and in here we're gonna add a reference for the scene camera, which is camera, yeah, and here we're gonna just simply add the transform value like so, and we're gonna do something that we didn't did at all, which is the lock state of the cursor. We're gonna find if we did some of them elsewhere. We did it in the controller, in which we're gonna change it because we don't need it here because it's part of the rendering system now. We're gonna do the else part where we are going to simply do this. So here what we're going to do is pretty simple. We're going to activate at first the game object which contains the mesh render. We're gonna check if the player is an enemy. If it is an enemy, we're gonna assign the color based on this we can comment because we don't use it for now. And now we need to go to our player motor. So in the player motor, what we're gonna do is pretty simple. We're gonna simply do something like this, where we're gonna use the isMine here property, and we're gonna check if we are the controller, and if we are, we're gonna tag this player as a local player. Then we're gonna do a little fix on the UI because we are not showing the correct HP when we are spawning. And at last, we're gonna get all the players in the scene and we're gonna check their team. Then we're gonna initial the color based on their team. So, in order to check this, their teams, it's pretty simple. We're going to simply have this little function in which we're gonna have to get the local player. We're gonna assign a team by default here. We are going to say if we have a local player, if we have a local player, we are simply going to say that the team is equal to the local player team, and if the local player team is equal to the team that this player have, this prefab player have in his token, we are not enemy. If it's not the case, if it's not the same team, so we're gonna tag him as an enemy. So here, in order to make sure that everything works, we're gonna head here to the top. We're gonna add this little is enemy, and we're gonna add a getter here, like so. So now we can get the team and we are tagging everyone, and yeah, that's all. So now when we are go to the player renderer, we see that we are assigning on the init, we are simply assigning the player based on what he is, if we don't have the controller on it. So when we are joining, the player are tagged red if they are terrorist, TT, and if they are not, they are tagged blue. And when we are joining as a player in the game, then the game is based on how the player that is tagged on the local player, so the player who has joined at the particular moment that we joined. So yeah, pretty simple system. Now let's head to the player controller in order to add some little modifications. So player controller in here. We have to add here a little reference to the player render in the awake, like so, and reference in the values here. And then when we are initializing, we're gonna stick simply this part at the attached after the motor part here, like so. And that's it. That's freaking it. So as you can see, pretty simple system. Now we can head to the game, go to our prefabs when the game has compiled. Yeah, I think I just moved the script folder in the prefabs. So yeah, and let's go to the prefab of our player here. As you can see, on each player we need to simply add the player render. Maybe I have committed a little mistake here, because the prefab are not based on the player prefab, but on the original prefabs. But it's not a big deal. We don't have that many classes. So here, let's simply see. Yeah, so here we're gonna pass the player renderer, and we're gonna deactivate it because no, only the renderer. Gonna deactivate it here, and here we're gonna just pass this color as enemy and this color as ally, and the camera transform will be this one, like so. Here we're gonna just do a little left click, right click, and copy component, and head to the other classes like the medic, pass the component values here, put the renderer and the camera in here, and deactivate this one. And for the soldier, same, deactivate this, pass component values, pass here the component and here the camera, like so. Very nice. So this way we are sure that we are having the correct colors. Let's simply build the game here, and we're gonna check if it all works. When you have finished building your game, you can start a server and a client. And in this episode, indeed it is short, we can do some debugging of the game. So currently you can see that if I spawn a player, I don't have any error in here and any error in the server. You can see that here it appears that we have an error, but it not shows as a red error. Sometimes it don't even show. So in order to debug our game, in particular, we can start a server in an instance, and we can start a player instance here on our editor, simply by going to the start scene and checking the unchecking the is server part here. And as you can see, when we are using the editor, we're gonna have all the debugs that we need here. So here the bug is pretty simple. I did it simply because I wanted to show you the debugging phase and everything. So here we are missing on the local player tag. So let's head to the tags and add one, and let's just simply add the local player tag here. And now if we are rebuilding the game one more time, we'll not have this problem anymore. So now you have built your game. You can see that the player don't anymore see its own model, and when we are in front of the camera, we can see the team that is assigned based on the default team color. And now if we are joining TT, we going to see the color invert. If I am fast enough here, like so. So here we can see the blue player in here rendered as the bad one. So you can see the 80s player is rendered as blue for us. The 2 TT player for the 80 is rendered as red. And for the last player here, the other TT, the current TT player that we have spawned just here, we can see it as blue, and our AT player, or enemy player, is as red. Pretty simple. So thank you for watching a very short episode today. I'm sure it was entertaining for you. And yeah, so please consider subscribing. Please leave a like, maybe. Share the video. Show to your friend that they can do a multiplayer game like you. And yeah, we see you in the next episode. I don't know what we going to do. Maybe some starting doing some goal for the game. I'm not sure. Maybe not. We're going to see it. And yeah. So thank you. See you soon, and remember to code every day. Bye. Vandalhalla? What's that? It's a game in development by Sandstorm Game Studio, a young indie game studio which want to start their journey with an online fast FPS game. Vandalhalla will be fast-paced and easy to learn how to master a game. In this game, your equipment will be based on 4 weapons or skills, chosen freely. We call them abilities. They compose your loadout. From rocket launchers to grapplings, including toy guns filled with holy water, your choice is vast. Choices you will make will influence drastically your playstyle. In fact, our game balance is based on an ancient game that is 1000 years old, the famous rock, paper, scissors. Basically, when you are fighting, there will be situations in which you will have facilities to kill some loadout, but your opponents plays the same game as you and they could have bonus damage against you as well. Right now you have 40 different abilities in order to create chaos in your game. Among these 90,000 combinations, I'm sure you will find the one you like. You will be also equipped with a gravity gun, which will allow you to move around the entire map without any difficulty. Your choice of loadout will also change the behavior of your gravity gun. So now, if you want to be the horse and the horseman, you can. But if you prefer to be Neo from Matrix, with a jetpack, it's possible. To have fun with all these features, nothing could be simpler than a huge city in which zones will be designated to organize a zone capture game and at the same time a team deathmatch. Go ahead and vandalize this city. After all, you're participating to Vandalhalla, the Vandals Paradise! If you want to help us and see the project evolve and get released, follow us on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter.